Welcome back to the show where we are delving into everyday AI tools. We have many questions and we're getting loads of answers from all of our guest experts here. And our next guest, what we've got a big question for is our everyday aspect and our way that we live in the next years. Will it record and will it be needing AI? Well, let's see. She is an amazing person and she's really lighting up the space in the whole region when it comes to AI tools. So please welcome Jessica Constantinidis. Very nice to see you, Jessica.
Nice to see you too.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So tell us about your role when it comes to at ServiceNow.
Yeah, so I am the field innovation expert, basically based out of Europe, Middle East and Africa. I report into the US headquarters straight along because, innovation, we're very close to strategy, to headquarters. But I am also a board member of the Benelux Business Council here in Abu Dhabi.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And how does that role day to day, how'd you get? Do you use AI with that role?
Yes, I do use AI with that one. Of course, we got to be careful with intellectual property and not sharing customer data, right? But on the flip side, I think AI for me on a day-to-day basis is kind of like a sanity check. Is making sure that my limited human brain, and this might sound a little bit controversial, but we do have one single brain. If you look at an AI, it's a multi-brain environment. So I check my limited brain to potential possibilities that I missed. So my role primarily goes into going into the mega projects, big customers, and innovating on their side. Not necessarily from a ServiceNow perspective, because that's our product team, but helping them get to more technology, leapfrogging, time to market, innovations, injecting into their day-to-day business. That could be healthcare, that could be manufacturing, it could be smart cities, anything.
So what we've been talking about a lot in this episode is generative AI. You believe this to be split into phases, right? What would you say is the next phase that we're going to be entering into?
So AI has been a long time already here, right? So since 2017, we had AI in our platform, and it's more of an automation part behind it. And I think if you look at, manufacturing, we've had AI for a while. Then we moved into more consumer-grade AI. And that consumer-grade AI was more of the programming first, knowing how to code and how to do that. Then generic AI or Gen AI came in, so that conversational piece. But the next one is the smart AI, which I call it, the Agentic AI. So this basically comes down to having context, having data, putting that in relationship, thinking through like a human being, and then being able to reason over it and learn from each and every one of the mistakes that you make. So essentially what you're doing with an Agentic AI is an AI that allows you to have all these parameters, and we got to make sure from a human perspective, we put the boundaries in there. We tell them about, all the laws that we have, all the regulations that we have, all the compliancy that we have, and think inside that context. But essentially, as I said, our human limited brain will then be exponential because they can learn. And what we normally do is imagine you're going into cancer research or whatever. You need a radiologist, you need an oncologist, you need a doctor to initially spot it, and then you need several other experts, laboratory experts, whatever. What if you could have that in one AI? And that one AI can just look at that X-ray and go, that's it. Compared to all the other X-rays, compared to all the data that we have, compared to all the history, that's where we're going into. And yes, it is scary. Because if you look at the not so good side, will it overrule us? And this is the conundrum that we're in today, where a lot of the famous people are saying AI is dangerous. Well, unless we actually sandbox it and unless we give it that rule set, I think it's quite okay. And we should be able to get there.
I got a question for you, actually.
Sure.
Which industry you think they will adopt the AI innovation that you're talking about, and which one you think it's going to take some time for them to be like, okay, let's jump on the AI?
It's actually very simple. The one where they have data mapped out in terms of the governance, what is allowed outside, what is not allowed outside, the intellectual property, all of those things, they will be the faster ones. So if you look at yourself on a day-to-day basis inside your organization, you build a document, a Word document, an Excel document, whatever. Do you label that document as confidential, yes or no? If your answer is I've never done that, that means that company is probably not ready for massive AI. Now, what we do within ServiceNow and what we do within a lot of our customers is we work with a lot of governments. We sandbox the AI.
Yeah.
So we do not allow the AI to go on the wider internet. By sandboxing it, you're basically putting it into a concealed environment, and it runs around in that environment, and whatever is in there you're controlling and is secure anyways. And then the result can go outside. So a lot of times in healthcare, we do see this where we sandbox an AI for cancer research or for something else, and we just inject anonymized data. We don't say it's Mohammed, or we don't say it's Sheila or whatever, but the result comes back, and then it's not linked to the patient. So it's not of an issue with, patient file, GDPR,
HIPAA and all that.
but you will have an anonymized result of there is a potential.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I have to kind of throw that question back at you then, because I want to ask you where you see, In Control being used by more people in the UAE and where you see it being used less.
I would say it's predominantly is going to be used by companies in the real estate space because they have a lot of data and they have less manpower to activate those data or basically simplify the process for people to convert. I would say the healthcare as well, a lot in the clinic space, which is the biggest problem is having people to come to the business, booking appointments and all of that. And the sandbox part, is it more for like a mini LLM? Is that what you mean?
So the way we look at it, so we work with Microsoft, we work with others, so we have something which is called an AI control tower, right? So that AI control tower will say, look, we have, in our platform, we have our own LLMs. So customers run inside their own environment and the LLM learns. So the large language model is based on that customer. You can inject external LLMs. So you can buy a healthcare LLM, you can buy manufacturing LLM, you can put that in there. But at some point, somebody needs to control which LLM it uses.
Exactly.
And that's what we're doing.
Smart.
So when you look at where we're sitting, we're working heavily with AWS, Microsoft, all of the bigger parties out there, Bard, all of them. And the thing is, a company needs to understand when do I use which LLM and which LLM can actually use which sets of data. And that is where the biggest conundrum sits now.
Yeah.
A lot of people are putting everything in a sandbox because they don't understand, they don't know, and the CISO's going crazy because if there's a breach, it's their head on the board, right? But I think if you look at it from let's look at what is already public, let's look at what we're trying to achieve, and then let's see how we do that with that control tower and do it in a controlled manner, then companies will have the opportunity to do it.
So Jessica, we just run out of time, but there's one thing I just want to check up on and talk to you about before we move on and say goodbye to you, and that is the how AI fails sometimes and it doesn't work. Just quickly.
I had my own
yeah. Like the WhatsApp voice fiasco.
Yes. So Vern, love him. He is our PR agent, and he texted me. He's like, Jess, can you do some questions on AI for an article? I'm like, yeah, fine. It was 10 o'clock in the evening, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to type. So you know what? WhatsApp has this like voice to text. So I'm like, I'm going through all the questions and I'm basically voicing everything in. And then he calls me, he's like, please do me a favor, read through what you've sent me. And I just read like the first 5 lines because it seemed okay. And then I did a full rant on like 5-6 different questions. And it was probably like 10-15 minutes worth of text. So I start reading and I'm like, where did we end up with marriages? Where did we end up with all of those? And I was reading through it and it made absolutely no sense. And I called him, I'm like, Vern, I am so sorry. Because I was assuming, I use a lot of Otter.ai, I use a lot of the voice recording in Microsoft, and I was just assuming that the WhatsApp voice to text was accurate. People don't use it.
Yes.
Or verify it.
Yes. Lesson learned.
Yes, exactly.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Jessica, so much for being
Pleasure.
with us today and telling us about what works and what doesn't work with
Exactly.
AI. But I think it's now time with Nimi and DXP60.
Yes, boys, we're going to be putting you on the spot. I don't know if anyone's given you a heads up for this, but this is why we love it, because it's truly authentic. All right, we're going to be putting 60 seconds on the clock, and we're going to try and fit in as many questions as possible. I'll go one by one. I think that'll be
Easy.
easier. Yeah? Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Your first job.
Dancer.
Oh, both of you. Okay, your motto in life and in work.
Mamba mentality.
Ooh.
You can say
Fire, on fire.
on fire. Your favorite AI tool apart from your own.
GPT.
Perplexity.
If you could have dinner with anyone, past or alive, who would it be?
Jeff Bezos.
My mom.
Oh, an AI app that you would like to see created, for anything in particular? You can say pass.
Pass.
Okay. Anything?
Our platform.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Just it evolve and keep going.
Yeah.
The coolest thing your AI has ever done?
Correct the name of someone.
Remember customer for a restaurant.
Oh, wow.
AI has memory.
Wow, amazing. Your go-to, actually speaking of restaurants, your go-to restaurant in Dubai?
I don't go out anymore.
I'm really putting you on the spot here.
Yes,
okay,
you are.
Here's an easier question we'll end on. Why Dubai? Talk to me about why Dubai.
Home for me, 100%.
Same thing. I met my wife on her first day in Dubai. My son born here. It's home.
Wow, lovely, beautiful, guys.
That's
Thank you.
extremely special. Oh man, thank you so much, Sad. Thank you so much, Kurt. It's been an honor. Definitely have to come back again. It'd be great to see you. And Jessica, an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much. Now, don't go anywhere because we have music from an award-winning vocalist. She is Nali and she's coming up very soon.